Hey everyone, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I have another layout for the Simple Stories creative team. And for this layout, I'm going to be using the new Posh Collection. And it is so pretty. I went through everything, and the first thing that jumped out at me was this beautiful floral card from the Snap Pack that says Hello Beautiful on it. And it just seemed to go with the picture that I was going to use. And I went through the rest of the Snap Pack, and there are just so many pretty cards. Look at all these cards. The colors are so pretty. I love these flowers. The XOXO is awesome. Also, the cut-apart sheets from the 12 by 12 papers are so pretty too. And there's a lot of shiny gold elements going on, as you can see there. And so I wanted to try to make a layout without using the navy blue, because as you can see, there's a lot of dark blue in this collection, which is very pretty, but I wanted to go with the lighter colors, and so I'm going to not use any of the navy blue in this. I really love this light, airy floral, so I'm going to cut a few of those out from the pattern papers, and I'm going to use that as a starting point for my layout. Okay, I did a little work off camera. I fussy cut two floral clusters out, and I cut out the XOXO that you just saw a minute ago on one of those snap cards. And I did a little cameo cutting here. I'm going to use this really pretty pattern paper as my background, and it's got that floral again in the right upper corner and the left lower corner. And I just made a big XOXO cut on my cameo using, I don't even remember the name of the font, just a regular blocky type font. And I cut it out, and then I'm going to use these papers that I've already went through. Most of them are from the 6x6 paper pad, but the one on the right, the light pink with the gold dots, that's one of the 12 by 12s. And so I'm just doing a very quick backing of all of these letters. And you know, you could still do a big title like this, especially the XOXO. Those are really easy letters. You could hand draw these, you could use something to trace, you could use a ruler and use scissors to cut these out, or you could use a craft knife. So that's something that's fairly easy to do that you don't necessarily have to have a die cutting machine for, because it's not detailed at all. It's just big open letters. And so I've got all of that done, and now I'm going to just sort of start to play around with everything that I've fussy cut. I want my picture to be layered on top of that card so you can see the Hello Beautiful. That's going to serve as my title. And this is my thought between putting my picture down in the lower corner. The way my daughter's looking, she's looking kind of up and out to the right. And so I always like to put my pictures on the opposite side of where the person is looking. So it looks like they're looking across the page or down the page, or whatever direction they're looking. So I wouldn't want to put her on the right with this picture, because then it would kind of just look like she's looking off the page, and I'll always wonder, what is she looking at? Even though it's a picture. But I like for it to look like she's looking at something on the page. So I'm doing some more fussy cutting. I'm going to use that Live Simply piece up at the top, and then I'm going to come in and play with some more of these clusters of flowers. And I love how this is looking. And I want the picture and that 3x4 card to overlap the first XO, because that's mainly just a background design. You know, it's not going to serve as my title. It's just something that kind of takes up space in the background, so it's not completely solid white space. Now this is from the Paper Pieces, or the Bits and Pieces pack, that Shiny Today card. I'm going to come in and use that later. So I kind of know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in and jazz up my background with some white gesso, and I'm just using my finger to kind of prime the page and white out some of the color from the pattern paper. And you can't really, you know, see it's, I'm using white, even though the paper itself is a cream color. I chose to use white gesso instead of clear, because I did want to kind of white out a little bit of that X and O, because I'm going to be putting some watercolor on top of that. And these are from my shimmer stash, and goodness, I cannot even remember the names of these colors right now. I made this layout a few weeks ago, but it's a really light mint color. It may be Refresh Mint, I think. It may be one of the new ones. It's a very light mint color. And I'm using the packaging technique and a little bit of the brush. This is going to be subtle. As you can see, this whole layout is very light. You know, the darkest color is that coral color, which still isn't that dark. But I want the background to mimic those colors, but not be so overpowering that it takes away from those floral clusters or the picture. So I'm mixing and matching some of the inklings and creamies in the little containers with some of the liquid sprays. And I want to get some of that teal color going, a little bit darker than what I've got in that O, just so it stands out a little more. And sometimes I feel like I'm contradicting myself. I want it to kind of be subtle, but at the same time I want it to stand out. I know those are two completely opposite thoughts, but I want you to be able to see it, but I don't want it to be so dark and so bold that it's the only thing you see, if that makes any sense. So since I've done some in the lower left, I'm going to do some in the upper right. So in the end, this is going to wind up being a diagonal design, I guess you could say, from the lower left all the way up to the upper right. So now I've got the teal done. I'm going to come in with some pinks and corals. There are a lot of pinks and coral tones in several of the newer collections I've been working with lately, and I was very excited to see it in this collection because they're so pretty mixed together. I love mixing that darker coral reddish color with the light pinks. It makes the prettiest shade. You know, it's a cross between coral, a cross between pink with a little bit of a red tint. It's just a really pretty color, and sometimes it even looks a little orange if you get more of the coral in the mix. And all I'm doing here is lightly brushing some of this pink color on, mainly around where the teal is, and so it doesn't blend and create an ugly color. And I just want little hints of the pink. And even though I'm using my brush, I still will take my plastic and kind of smush it over it so it doesn't have a brush look. I love the packaging technique a lot more than the brush look, I guess. I don't want the brush stroke look. Sometimes to me that looks, for me, when I'm making it, it just looks kind of harsh and forced. And I like that the packaging kind of smushes it for you and makes it look a little more natural, if that makes sense. And there's nothing wrong with the brush look. It just depends on what you like and what the look is that you're going for. And I'm also adding some splatters as I go, just kind of playing around here. This is the fun part for me. I love doing this on a background. It's just fun. I feel like I could just spend hours playing with paint like this. So most of that's dry, as you can see there. I've got some really pretty shine and shimmer going on with those different colors. And a lot of this is going to be covered up, so you can see it peeking out. I almost didn't want to cover any of that up, honestly. I love how that turned out. But, you know, you've got to cover some of it up if you're going to put your picture and your embellishments back on. And I think that's what makes it just look pretty in the end, is that you can see it kind of peeking out from behind everything. And it winds up looking, you know, more subtle in the end than it does when you're making it, because you add so much when you're making it that it just looks like a mess sometimes. But then when you start to add everything on top of it, it changes the look of it and it looks more complete. So this is pretty much how the layout is going to go as far as the design of it. I'm going to add a little bit of tissue paper behind my picture there, and that's just something cheap and easy you can do to add a little bit of interest and a little layer behind your picture. Oh, there was my little helper with her little orange Cheerio bowl. That was pretty quick, but yeah. I had to stop and get some Cheerios. Paige decided to come and make another little debut, but it was super quick on this one. Okay, so here off camera I did some stitching, and that did take me a little bit of time, but I used shiny gold thread and I stitched all around the XOXO, and I think that's the straightest I've ever stitched around letters. I was very pleased with myself and excited that I didn't rip the paper and it didn't go all crazy crooked. So I love how that turned out. It just kind of gives the XOXO a finished look. You can see the edges a little more, and plus it's shiny gold because oh, I love it. I also stitched the XO at the bottom, and then now I'm going to come in and start to add my thread. And I've got some pink, some teal, and then a coral color thread that I'm just using in a couple places. And again, I know I've said this a million times, but the thread just adds little pops of color and texture and just interest, you know, and it kind of gives it a messy look, even though you may want a clean finished look in the end. It still gives you a little bit of a messy random effect without being a huge thing. You know, the thread it's a small bit and it's kind of peeking out from underneath things, and it's just neat. I don't know. I still to this day don't know why I love that so much, but I just do, and I feel like I can't make a layout without it. And that's crazy to not have a reason other than I just like it. This is some of the washi tape. I'm going to add a strip of yellow to the left of the picture, and then I'm going to add another little strip that I tore so it looks kind of uneven over there, just to give it a little pop of yellow. And then I'm going to go through and make sure everything is glued down. And then I'm going to go through these 4x6 stickers. And even though these are designed for planners, clearly they work on layouts. I love to use the planner things on my layouts because they're so versatile. You would never know that this was made for a planner. And there's so many scripty words. Look at how many scripty words there are. You've got ampersand, stars, hearts, and a lot of things with shiny gold on them. So there I just used my little circle punch to punch another little heart, and that's actually a sticker from that 4x6 square sticker sheet there, but I'm going to use that little heart as an embellishment. And so it's fun when you look at your embellishments or your papers or stickers or whatever, you know, just because it's a square does not mean that you have to use it as a square. Like I just punched that heart out, and so now it's a circle. So you can do whatever you want, and it's fun to think outside the box like that and look at your products in a different way so you can really use it in just a way that it wasn't necessarily meant to be used. So I'm coming in with more stickers here and there. I'm going to add some little hearts here and there. I added one of those metal clips over to the left, and I did not even clip it onto anything. I glued it underneath the picture so it looks like a brad over there. Cutting more flowers. I'm going to overlap that little flower cluster right there on top of my picture because there's a little bit of space there that's open. And again, it looks like she's looking at the flowers, and so I love how that looks. These are the clear stickers, and these are actually brown. Very, very pretty. I think those are the brown ones. I know there's a sheet of brown ones. Maybe these are the gray ones. You know what? I think I told you wrong. I think the brown ones are in the Reset Girl collection. I think these are the dark gray ones. Yep. These are the dark gray ones. And these are just fun little words, little sayings. Again, they're meant for a planner, but I'm using them right here on this layout. And then I'm going to come in with some of these phrase, I believe these are the word label stickers. A couple of those around the page. And then I'm going to finish it off with a little bit of journaling, talking about my daughter and how beautiful she is and how much I love her. And then the Heidi Swap Gold Color Shine, because there's lots of gold going on. I got to add that. And that's the final layout. I absolutely love how this turned out. I love that I was able to do this without any of the navy blue. And it's fun to kind of challenge yourself to do stuff like that. And so look at that shiny gold. Oh, love it. Love it. You have to check out the Posh Collection if you haven't. It's so versatile. I have another layout and video coming up soon where I did use the navy blue, and it looks like a totally different collection, so stay tuned for that. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.